First of all, welcome to the Sleepy Cosmos Stories channel. Tonight we are setting out on another very special journey together. Not into space, not to the stars. Tonight we're going to the most mysterious place of all, the depths of our own minds. Before we begin, I'm curious about one small thing. Where are you right now? In a quiet room? In a comfortable bed? Or in a small corner where you're finally resting after a long day? Wherever you are, I hope you're comfortable, safe, and in a moment where you can allow your thoughts to gently drift. If you enjoy these calming mind journeys and would like to hear more, liking the video and subscribing truly helps this small channel continue its journey. And to those who are already subscribed, thank you sincerely. Your support matters more than you realize. Now, I'll try not to make tonight's topic too interesting, so interesting that it keeps you completely awake. But if you can't fall asleep, at least you may understand the greatest mystery a little better, your own existence. So, shall we begin? Being here now, the first mystery. Pause for a moment, just for a moment, and notice. Right now, you are reading these words or listening to them. But not only that, you are also aware that you are reading, aware that you are thinking, aware that you are feeling. This seems ordinary, doesn't it? But in reality, it is the greatest mystery in the universe. Consciousness. Being aware. Having experiences. Possessing an inner world. Being able to say, I am here. Science has understood atoms, mapped galaxies, decoded DNA. But consciousness? Consciousness remains a profound enigma. Neuroscience professor David Chalmers calls this the hard problem of consciousness. The easy problems involve understanding how the brain works, how neurons fire, how signals are transmitted, how information is processed. We understand these, or at least we're getting closer. But the hard problem is this: why does all of this create an experience at all? Why aren't we just processors? Why is there someone inside, someone living, someone feeling? A computer processes information, but it is dark inside. There is no one there. It experiences nothing. But you see the color red. And not only do you see it, you know what red feels like. That warmth, that vividness. There is an inner experience happening. How is that possible? No one knows. 1. Where is consciousness? Which part of the brain creates awareness? You might be thinking, of course it's in the brain. Consciousness must be in the brain. But where exactly? The brain contains roughly 86 billion neurons, each connected to thousands of others. A vast network. Electrical signals, chemical messages, constant activity. Scientists have scanned every centimeter of the brain, mapped every region. Frontal lobe, thinking. Temporal lobe, memory. Occipital lobe, vision. Everything seems to have a place, but consciousness? There is no specific center for it. No neuron is a consciousness neuron. No region is a consciousness region. It's as if consciousness is nowhere and yet everywhere. Some scientists suggest that consciousness may not exist in individual parts, but in the connections, in the network itself, in the communication between neurons. This idea is known as integrated information theory. According to it, Consciousness emerges from information being integrated in a particular way. The more complex and unified the system, the greater the consciousness. But this is still just a theory. It has not been proven. And it still doesn't answer the core question. Why does this integration produce experience at all? Why aren't we just information, but feeling? The mystery remains.
2. Brain activity equals consciousness. Correlation versus causation. In MRI scanners, scientists observe the brain. When you think, certain regions light up. When you feel something, other regions do. When you remember, different ones again. So consciousness is correlated with brain activity. That much is certain. But here is the critical question. Does brain activity create consciousness, or is it merely associated with it? Consider an analogy. The radio. The radio is playing. You hear music. If you look inside the radio, you see electronic components, transistors, circuits. They are active, synchronized with the music. But does the music come from those electronic parts? No. The music comes from an external signal. The radio is merely a receiver. So what about the brain? Does the brain produce consciousness, or is it just a receiver? Some philosophers and even some scientists suggest this. Perhaps consciousness is not produced by the brain. Perhaps the brain receives it, filters it, expresses it, but does not create it. This view is known as the filter theory. It is highly controversial. Most scientists do not accept it, but no one has definitively disproven it either. Because correlation is not causation. Brain activity and consciousness occur together, but which comes first? Which gives rise to the other? We still do not know. 3. Why are some things conscious and others not? You are conscious. You know this because you experience. But who else is conscious? Your dog? Probably. It feels pain, shows joy. It seems like there is someone inside. A fish? Maybe. Simpler, but it might still feel something. A fly? Unclear. Such a tiny nervous system, yet it avoids light, searches for food. Is there some minimal awareness? A plant? Harder. Plants respond to stimuli. They turn toward the sun. Their roots grow toward water. But is this consciousness or just automatic reaction? A computer? It can perform extremely complex operations, but is it conscious? Is there someone inside? Is it having an experience in the dark? Most of us say no, computers are just code, mechanical. But why? If the brain is merely a biological computer and consciousness emerges from the brain, then could a sufficiently complex artificial intelligence also be conscious? Or does consciousness require something special, something biological, organic? No one knows. And here is the most disturbing question of all. How can you know that others are conscious? The only consciousness you truly know is your own. You assume others are conscious because they behave like you, but you cannot prove it. Maybe everyone around you is just a very sophisticated robot, displaying behavior, but with no one inside. This is called the zombie problem. A philosophical zombie, a being that behaves and speaks like you, but has no consciousness. Could you tell the difference? No, because consciousness is invisible from the outside. It is a disturbing idea, but it also reveals how deep the mystery of consciousness really is. 4. Self-awareness, the mirror test, and beyond. Animals can recognize themselves in a mirror. Dolphins, elephants, chimpanzees, even some birds. When they look in a mirror, they do not see another animal, they see themselves. This is known as self-awareness. Not just experiencing, but being aware of the experiencer. Right now, you are not just thinking, you are also aware that you are thinking. This is a higher level of consciousness. But where does it come from? Your baby doesn't have it. It develops around 18 months. At first, the baby looks in the mirror and sees another baby. Then one day something clicks. That's me. What changed? The brain matured enough, but what exactly happened? Which neurons, which connections suddenly enabled self-awareness? We do not know. And some people report different levels of self-awareness. Those who meditate often describe a deeper form of it, witness consciousness, observing thoughts without identifying with them. How is that possible? How can consciousness observe itself? It is as if an eye is looking at itself. But how? A mystery.
5. Are colors the same? The problem of qualia. Think of red. An apple. Red. Now a question. Is the red you see the same as the red I see? Your first reaction is probably, of course it's the same. We both call it red. But wait, we use the same word. But what about the inner experience? Is that the same? Maybe my red is like your blue, but I have always called it red and you have too. So we both assign the same word to the same object, yet the internal experience could be completely different. There is no way to test this. Philosophers call this qualia, the qualitative character of subjective experience. What red looks like, what music sounds like, what pain feels like. Qualia are entirely private, only yours. No one else can access them. You cannot truly describe them, you can only experience them. And science cannot explain qualia, because science is objective and measurable. Qualia are entirely subjective. A scientist can scan your brain and say, this area becomes active when you see red. But they cannot see what red feels like to you. They cannot experience it. Qualia lie outside the reach of science. 6. Sleep. Where does consciousness go? Every night, a miracle happens. You fall asleep, and your consciousness? It disappears, or at least it changes. In deep sleep, there is no awareness, no experience, just nothing, as if you did not exist. Yet in the morning, you wake up, and consciousness is back. Where did it go? How did it return? No one knows. During REM sleep, you dream, and this is a form of consciousness, but a very different one. There is no logic, no sense of time, no physical laws. You can fly, you can die, and then come back to life. A dream is a complete virtual reality created by your brain, and in the moment it feels real. Until you wake up, you do not question it. So how do you know that you are waking right now? Maybe you are dreaming even now. Maybe true wakefulness is something entirely different. Some philosophers suggest perhaps all of life is a dream, a vast simulation. Or even stranger, perhaps everything is the dream of a single consciousness. You cannot prove this, but you cannot disprove it either. Sleep shows us how fragile consciousness is. One moment it is there, the next it is gone. Then it returns again. But why? How? A mystery. 7. Anesthesia, the consciousness off switch. Before surgery, they give you a drug. Within seconds, you lose consciousness. It is not like sleep. It is deeper. No dreams, no sense of time, just nothing. Then you wake up, and it feels as if no time has passed at all. A blink, yet hours are gone. Anesthesia turns consciousness off. But how? The drug binds to certain receptors in the brain. It blocks communication between neurons, and consciousness disappears. This shows us something important. Consciousness is a very delicate balance. A small chemical change can shut it down completely. But why? The neurons are still there, the brain is still active, yet there is no one inside. It is as if the lights are on, but the house is empty. Anesthesia suggests that consciousness is physical, something a chemical can stop, but at the same time, it deepens the mystery, because we still do not know what exactly is that chemical turning off. Where is the on-off switch for consciousness? And when the switch is off, where are you? 8. Coma, trapped consciousness. Some people fall into a coma after an accident. Eyes closed, unresponsive, but the brain is still active. Some coma patients later wake up and they say, "I heard everything, but I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I was trapped." This is called locked-in syndrome. Consciousness is present, but the body does not respond. From the outside, you appear unconscious, but on the inside, you are awake. You try to scream, but no one hears you. Think about it. How many people right now are lying in hospital beds, conscious but unable to move? How many are awake on the inside, yet invisible on the outside? We do not know, because we cannot directly measure consciousness from the outside. Some scientists are developing new techniques, fMRI, EEG, brain scans. They ask questions, are you in pain? And some coma patients respond through patterns of brain activity. Yes, but this works only for some. The others, still in the dark. Consciousness can be a prison. You can be locked inside it, and no one may ever know.
9. Is there identity without memory? In 1953, a man named Henry Molaison underwent surgery to treat severe epilepsy. Doctors removed part of his brain, the hippocampus, on both sides. The surgery stopped the seizures, but it had a devastating side effect. Henry could no longer form new memories. Every day he met his doctors. Every day it was the first time. He did not remember eating breakfast. What he did in the morning was gone by the afternoon. Just a few minutes, and then nothing. Like a computer that resets every few minutes. But his old memories, his childhood, his youth, those were intact. He clearly remembered his life before the surgery. So, who was Henry? In one sense, he was still Henry. His personality was the same. He was polite, gentle. He had the same preferences. But in another sense, he was a new version every day because no new experience ever became permanent. If you told Henry every morning your mother died yesterday, he would experience the pain as if for the first time, every single time, because he could not remember. This shows us something profound. Identity is deeply tied to memory. Without memories, there is no continuity. Every moment is a new beginning. But here is the paradox. Henry recognized himself. He saw himself in the mirror. Even though he expected to see a younger face as he aged, he still said, "That's me." So perhaps identity is more than memory alone. Perhaps identity is a feeling, an illusion of continuity, the feeling of I itself. 10. Are you the sum of your memories? Think about it. How many memories do you have from your childhood? Probably only a few. Maybe some vivid scenes, a birthday, your first day at school, a vacation, but most of it gone. What were you doing when you were 3 years old? You don't remember, yet you were there, you were living, you were experiencing. So did those moments disappear, or are they still somewhere in your brain? Some psychologists argue that memories are never truly lost, only inaccessible, buried deep inside, still there. Under hypnosis, some people recall very old memories. Maybe they're all still stored somewhere. Others say no, the brain is constantly changing. Neurons die, new ones form, connections are rewired, old memories can truly vanish. And here is an even stranger fact. Your memories change. Every time you remember something, you alter it slightly. You rewrite it. Scientists have shown this. When you recall a memory, the brain brings it back, but when it stores it again, it changes it a little. Small details are added, others are removed. So the memories you remember most clearly are often the most altered ones because you have recalled them the most. What really happened? You do not know. You only remember the latest version. Your memories are not a historical record. They are the interpretation of your brain right now. And if your identity is based on your memories, then your identity is constantly being rewritten. You are a changing story.
11. Why does time sometimes feel fast and sometimes slow? An hour is always 60 minutes, but how long it feels is very different. When you are bored, time crawls. A lecture, a waiting room. It feels like hours, yet only minutes pass. When you are having fun, time flies. With friends, engaged in a hobby, it feels like minutes, yet hours are gone. Why? Because the brain does not measure time objectively. It constructs time based on experience. Novel experiences contain a lot of information. The brain works harder. It records more. Later, when you look back, you remember many details, so it feels like a long period of time passed. Repetitive experiences contain little information. The brain runs on autopilot. It records very little. Looking back, it feels empty, so it feels like very little time passed. That is why childhood summers felt endless. Everything was new. And why adulthood seems to fly by. Routines dominate. Your perception of time depends on attention. During an accident, time seems to slow down. Many people report this. While falling, during a crash, moments stretch out. The brain enters alarm mode, hyperattention. Every detail is recorded. Later, it feels like a very long moment. But in real time, nothing changed. The brain simply processed information differently. Now the interesting question. If your perception of time is created by your brain, then what is real time? Physicists say time is relative. It depends on speed. It depends on gravity. There is no absolute time. You might say time is subjective. It depends on experience, on attention. Each consciousness lives in a different flow of time. Perhaps time is just an illusion, the brain's way of organizing events. 12. How long is now? Right now you are reading these words, but how long is now? 1 second? Less? A millisecond? Neuroscience suggests that the brain's now window is about 2 to 3 seconds long. What does this mean? Your brain receives information continuously, but it does not process it instantly. It accumulates it for about 2 to 3 seconds, then presents it to you as now. So in reality, you are always living with a small delay. The moment you call now is actually information from a few seconds ago. You do not notice this because the brain presents it as a smooth, continuous flow. Even more interesting, your different senses are processed at different speeds. Vision is fast, touch is slower, hearing is in between, yet you experience them as simultaneous. How? The brain synchronizes them. It corrects for the delays and presents them to you as this all happened at the same time. Imagine tapping your hand on a table. You feel the touch, you hear the sound, at the same time. But in reality, the touch signal arrived first, the sound came later. The brain synchronized them. So now is a construction, a montage, an illusion created by your brain. A true now? Perhaps it does not exist. There may be only a continuous stream of data, and the brain packages it into a meaningful now. 13. The illusion of the self. Does I really exist? I. You use this word constantly. I think, I feel, I want. But what is I? Is your hand you?
It's part of your body, but if you lose your hand, you are still you. Is your brain you? Closer, but your brain is constantly changing. Neurons die every day. New ones form. 10 years from now, it's a different brain. Yet, are you still you? Are your memories you? But memories change. New ones are added. Old ones fade. A constantly changing collection. That would mean you are a constantly changing entity. Some philosophers argue that there is no such thing as a fixed self. There is only a process, a flow, continuously changing thoughts, feelings, experiences, and the brain packages them as a single I. But in reality, there is no stable self. Buddhism has said this for thousands of years. Anatta, no self. The sense of self is an illusion, a pattern formed by temporary experiences. Neuroscience now supports this view. We can observe the brain processes that generate the sense of I. The default mode network, the part of the brain active even at rest, constantly creates a narrative. I am thinking this, I am feeling that. What happens if this network is disrupted? Through meditation, psychedelics, or certain brain injuries, people report the same thing. The sense of I disappears. There is experience, but no experiencer. It's a profound state, and people often say, that was the real me, the rest was artificial. But perhaps both are artificial, or both are real. It depends on perspective. The self may be a useful illusion, helpful for navigating the world, for making decisions, but is it an absolute reality? Perhaps not.
14. The split brain, two consciousnesses in one head. In the 1960s, some epilepsy patients underwent a radical surgery. Doctors severed the connection between the two brain hemispheres, the corpus callosum. Why? Because seizures were jumping from one hemisphere to the other. When the connection was cut, the seizures stopped. But the side effects were strange. One of these patients participated in experiments by Michael Gazzaniga, and remarkable things emerged. The left hemisphere controls language. The right hemisphere handles visual spatial processing. After the surgery, they could no longer share information. In one experiment, the patient was shown two different images. To the left eye, right hemisphere, a snowy landscape. To the right eye, left hemisphere, a chicken claw. Then the patient was asked, "Why did you choose the shovel?" The left hemisphere was speaking, but it had never seen the shovel choice. It only knew about the chicken. Yet the patient did not hesitate. He immediately replied, "Oh, to clean out the chicken coop." The left hemisphere invented an explanation. It did not know the truth, but it created a coherent story. This is crucial. Your brain is constantly explaining itself, creating meaning, even when it is wrong. Even more interesting, the two hemispheres can want different things. One patient would open a book with one hand while the other hand tried to close it. The hemispheres were in conflict. So how many people are in this head? One or two? Patients say, one, I'm one person, but their behavior suggests otherwise. Perhaps the self is not singular, but a collection of processes. The left hemisphere is dominant, the narrator. It creates a unified I. The other processes remain hidden. That may be true for you as well. Multiple processes in your brain, but one narrator presenting them all as me. 15. Multiple personalities, more than one I in one body. Dissociative identity disorder, formerly called multiple personality disorder. One person develops multiple distinct identities, each with a different name, different personality, different memories. When one identity is in control, the others are unaware. There are gaps in time. How did I get here? I don't remember the last few hours. Is this real or role-playing? It is controversial. Some psychiatrists argue it is real, a result of trauma. The brain fragments and different identities carry different experiences. Others argue it is unconscious role-playing. The person creates identities without realizing it. But brain scans reveal something intriguing. When different identities are dominant, brain activity changes, as if there really are different people. So how many consciousnesses are there? One or several? If each identity has different memories, different preferences, a different personality, then perhaps they are truly separate consciousnesses. Yet, they all share the same body. This makes the question of identity even more complex. The self is not fixed. It can be plural. It can change. Perhaps we are all plural to some degree. We just do not notice it.
16. Ego and ego death. Can the self be switched off? Some people report experiencing ego death through meditation or psychedelics. The ego is the sense of I, the feeling of being a separate entity, distinct from others, bounded by the body. During ego death, this sense disappears. People report, I was everything. I became one with the universe. There was no separate self, only pure experience. It is a profoundly intense experience, and many say that was the most real moment of my life. Science tries to explain it. The default mode network shuts down. The regions that generate the sense of self fall silent. What remains is raw consciousness, but no owner of it. This is paradoxical, consciousness without a self. How is that possible? Perhaps the self is not a necessary component of consciousness. It is an add-on, a structure the brain creates for organization. And if that structure dissolves, what remains underneath is a more fundamental awareness. Or perhaps the brain is simply confused, and meaning is added afterward in mystical terms. There is no definitive answer, but one thing is clear: the sense of I is far more flexible than we tend to think. 17. Identity after death. Would you be the same person? A thought experiment. Imagine a teleportation device. It scans you, records every atom. Then somewhere else, it reconstructs you from identical atoms. The new you has the same memories, the same personality. Everything is the same, except the atoms are different. Are you the same person? Most people say yes, because continuity exists. Memories, personality, identity all persist. But here is the detail. The original you was destroyed. Your atoms were dispersed. The new you is a copy. So is it you or a clone? If you were the original, you died at the moment of teleportation, and somewhere else someone like you wakes up, but not you. Or perhaps identity is not tied to atoms at all. Perhaps it is tied to information, to structure. In that case, the new you truly is you. Which is correct? Take it further. Mind uploading. Your brain is scanned and uploaded into a computer. A digital you lives in software. Same memories, same personality. Is that you or just a copy? If the original you is still alive, then there are two of you. Which one is real? Both will say, I am the real one. If identity can be copied, then it is not unique, and yet each of us feels unique. A mystery. 18. The Libet experiment. The brain decides before you do. In the 1980s, a neuroscientist named Benjamin Libet conducted a simple yet revolutionary experiment. Participants were given a basic task. Move your finger whenever you feel like it, and note the exact moment you decide to move by watching a clock. At the same time, their brains were being monitored using EEG. The results were surprising. Brain activity related to the movement began before the conscious decision, about 300 to 500 milliseconds earlier. So the sequence looked like this. First, brain activity starts. Then you say, I decided. Then your finger moves. What does this mean? It appears that your conscious decision is not really a decision at all. It is simply your awareness of a decision your brain has already made. You think you decide, but your brain has already decided and then informs you, we've decided to do this. Is free will an illusion? Libet himself did not fully accept this conclusion. He suggested that perhaps we have a veto power,
The brain initiates the action, but consciousness can stop it at the last moment. But this too is controversial because the veto decision may also originate in the brain earlier than we realize. 19. Advanced scans. Decisions are set 7 seconds in advance. Libet's experiment was criticized. The task was too simple. Perhaps complex decisions are different. But in 2008, John Dylan Haynes and his team conducted a more advanced experiment using fMRI. Participants were asked to choose between 2 buttons, left or right, whenever they wished, and to note the moment they became aware of their choice. The brain scans revealed something astonishing. The decision could be predicted 7 to 10 seconds before the conscious choice. 7 seconds. Brain activity begins, and from that activity, scientists could predict which button you would press with about 60% accuracy, and you were not yet aware of your decision. 7 seconds later, you decide, but the brain has already set things in motion. This is a serious challenge to free will, because it suggests that you believe you are making decisions, but in reality, your brain has already started down a path, and you only become aware afterward. Like a passenger who thinks they are driving while the car is on autopilot. 20. Subconscious control. Most of your decisions are made without awareness. You wake up in the morning. Coffee or tea? A small decision, and the answer comes immediately. Coffee. But why? Did you analyze it? Probably not. You just felt it. Automatic. Subconscious. Most of your decisions work this way. Subconscious, fast, intuitive. Daniel Kahneman calls this System 1. Fast thinking, automatic, effortless. System 2 is slow thinking, conscious, effortful, used for complex problems. But System 1 is in control most of the time, especially for everyday decisions. You are walking. Do you consciously plan each step? No. Automatic, subconscious. You are speaking. Do you consciously choose every word? No. The words flow. You see a face, an instant feeling. I like this person, or I don't trust them. Why? You do not know. The subconscious decided. Most of your life is run by the subconscious. The conscious mind is only a small part. Like an iceberg, consciousness is the tip above water, visible but small. The subconscious is below the surface, vast and steering everything. So are you really in control, or are you simply reporting the decisions your subconscious has already made?
21. Neuroplasticity. Maybe you can change your brain, not the other way around. But wait, maybe we are being too pessimistic. Yes, the brain makes decisions in advance. Yes, the subconscious is in control. But does this really mean that free will does not exist? Some scientists say no, because you can change your brain. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reshape itself based on experience. If you develop a habit, neural connections strengthen. That habit becomes automatic. If you abandon a habit, those connections weaken. Over time, they fade away. So in the long run, you are shaping your brain. The thoughts you reinforce, the behaviors you repeat, these change your brain. Is this a kind of free will? Maybe, but here's the real question. Who decides to do the shaping? The conscious you or your prior brain state? If today you decide to meditate, where does that decision come from? Your past experiences? Your genetics? Your environment? If so, then it is still deterministic. Or is it a truly free choice, a pure will dependent on nothing else? No one knows for sure. 22. Quantum uncertainty. Maybe will is free at the quantum level. Some thinkers turn to quantum mechanics. In the quantum world, there is uncertainty. The state of a particle is undefined before observation. Only probabilities exist. And some theorists argue maybe consciousness is connected to quantum processes.
Maybe the brain performs quantum computations, and maybe this opens a door to free will. Because quantum uncertainty is not deterministic, it is genuinely random. There is no predetermined outcome. If consciousness operates at the quantum level, then your decisions cannot be predicted in advance. They would be truly free. But this is a very big if. Most neuroscientists argue that the brain is too warm and too complex. Quantum effects disappear almost instantly. Decoherence. The brain operates according to classical physics. And although some exceptions, like Roger Penrose, propose quantum theories of consciousness, none have been proven. But even if it were true, would quantum uncertainty actually give us free will? Maybe not, because randomness is not freedom. If your decisions arise from random quantum events, then you still have no control. There is only chance. Free will is neither determinism nor randomness. It is something in between. But what exactly is that in between? No one can define it. 23. Determinism. Was the universe like a clock? Classical physics is deterministic. According to Newton's laws, if the position and velocity of every particle in the universe are known, the future can be fully calculated. Like a clock, one gear turns another forever. This means that since the Big Bang, everything may already have been determined. Every atom's position, every thought you have, every decision you make, simply the result of prior states. This view is called hard determinism. If it is true, there is no free will. Everything is a domino effect, and you are merely experiencing the illusion. But modern physics is more complex. Chaos theory tells us that small changes can produce enormous effects, the butterfly effect. A butterfly flapping its wings can trigger a hurricane. And quantum mechanics tells us that uncertainty is fundamental. Determinism breaks down at the microscopic level. But how much does this matter in the macroscopic world? Do chaos and quantum effects inside your brain actually create free will? Maybe, but there is no evidence. 24. Compatibilist free will. You are free even if determinism is true. Some philosophers offer a different approach, compatibilism. They argue that free will and determinism are not contradictory. They can coexist. How? Like this. Free will means acting according to your own desires without external coercion. Even in a deterministic universe, you are still following your own desires. No one is forcing you. Yes, your desires come from prior causes, genetics, environment, experiences, but they are still your desires. Is that enough for free will? Some say yes, because freedom is not independence from causality. Freedom is acting in accordance with your own reasons. Others say no, because those reasons were never under your control. They were determined by things that existed before you. And the debate continues for over 1,000 years.
25. Moral responsibility. If there is no free will, is anyone guilty? If free will does not exist, a serious problem arises. If people do not make their decisions freely, can they truly be guilty? A person commits murder, but their brain was shaped by genetic and environmental factors, and at that moment, their brain pushed them toward that action. The person had no real control. So, should they be punished? Some thinkers say no, because moral responsibility depends on free will. If there is no free will, no one is truly responsible. But how does society function? The justice system is built on the assumption of free will. We hold people accountable for their bad choices. If free will does not exist, punishment becomes irrational. Only rehabilitation or protection makes sense. This person is dangerous. Isolate them from society. Not, this person is evil.
punish them. Some countries are already moving in this direction, especially as neuroscience enters the courtroom. The defendant's brain shows impaired impulse control. They are not fully responsible. But this is an ethical minefield. Where are the limits? Everyone is guided by their brain in some way, so is no one responsible at all? There is no clear answer. Society is still struggling with this question. 26. Why does the illusion of free will exist? If free will is an illusion, why do we have it? There is an evolutionary explanation. Perhaps the feeling of free will is necessary for social cooperation. If people feel responsible, they cooperate better. I made this decision. It's my responsibility. This feeling builds trust. If everyone says, "I'm just a robot, I have no control," society collapses. No one takes responsibility. So maybe evolution gave us the illusion of free will for survival. Whether it is real may not matter. It has a function. But is this a satisfying answer? Scientifically, perhaps. Philosophically, still unsettling. 27. Freedom as experience. Even if it isn't real, we feel it. Right now, make a choice. Raise your right hand or your left. Choose. Raise it. What did you feel? Probably the sense that I chose. Science says maybe your brain already chose, but you still felt free. And that feeling is a real experience. Even if it is an illusion, you experience it. Maybe free will is not a metaphysical truth, but it is a phenomenological truth, a truth of lived experience. You feel free, and that feeling affects your life. It makes your decisions meaningful. If you believe you are a robot, you might behave differently, more passive, less responsible. But if you believe you are free, you are more active, more responsible. So maybe what matters is not whether free will is real, but the consequences of believing in it. A pragmatic approach, but not a deep one, because in the end, we still want to know what is actually true.
28. Vision is a construction. Your brain creates reality. Your eyes are not cameras. People often think so. My eyes record the outside world. My brain watches the recording. But that's not how it works. Your eyes only collect light. Photons hit the retina. Photoreceptor cells convert them into electrical signals. These signals travel to the visual cortex. Then the brain gets to work. It detects edges, separates colors, adds depth, calculates motion, identifies objects. And finally, it presents you with an image. But that image is not a one-to-one copy of what's out there. It is interpreted, organized, and predicted. Consider the blind spot. There is a place on the retina where the optic nerve exits. There are no photoreceptors there. You literally see nothing at that spot. Do you notice it? No, because the brain fills the gap. It predicts what should be there based on surrounding information and shows you that instead. You never realize it. The brain is constantly predicting, completing missing data, smoothing inconsistencies, and presenting you with a coherent, real world. But is it real? Or just your brain's best guess? 29. Optical illusions. The brain is easily deceived. You know optical illusions. Two lines look different in length, but when measured, they're the same. A rotating spiral. You stare at it, then look away. Everything seems to move, but nothing actually is. Why does this happen? Because the brain uses shortcuts, heuristics. Usually, when things look like this, they mean that. Most of the time, that works. Sometimes, it fails. Take the Mueller-Lyer illusion. Two lines of equal length. One has outward-pointing arrows at the ends, the other inward. The one with outward arrows looks longer. Why? Because the brain evolved to interpret a three-dimensional world. Those arrows resemble depth cues. Ah, this one is farther away, so it must be larger, and the brain adjusts the perception. But on a flat piece of paper, there is no depth. The brain applies the rule anyway and gets it wrong. You are not seeing reality. You are seeing your brain's interpretation. And if it can be fooled by simple lines, how wrong might it be about the complex world? 30. Are colors real? Returning to qualia. Let's return to red, but from a different angle. There are light waves, different wavelengths. Around 700 nanometers is what we call red, but the wavelength itself is not red. It's just a frequency, a vibration. Redness happens in your brain. The retina detects that wavelength, sends a signal, the brain interprets it, and presents you with the experience of red. But out there in the world, there is no red, only wavelengths. Color is a construction of the brain. Different species see different colors. Dogs are red-green colorblind. They mostly see blues and yellows. Bees see ultraviolet. Humans cannot. Which colors are real? All of them or none of them? It depends on perspective. Reality is species-specific, even individual-specific. There may be an objective reality out there, but you never perceive it directly. You only ever perceive your brain's interpretation of it.
31. Synesthesia. Some people live in a different reality. Some people see sounds as colors. This is called synesthesia. The senses are cross-wired. They hear a musical note and simultaneously see a color. D is blue, E is yellow, G is green. Others see words as colors. The word Tuesday is red, Friday is blue. For them, this is a real experience, not metaphorical. They truly perceive it. Why does this happen? The brain regions that process different senses are more strongly connected than usual. When one area activates, it triggers another. Here is the important point. Synesthesia shows that perception of reality depends on the brain's wiring. For you, sound is just sound. For them, sound is sound and color. Which perception is correct? Both. Both are realities constructed by the brain. Change the wiring, and reality changes with it. 32. Dreams, a complete reality, yet fake. Every night you dream, and in dreams everything feels real. You walk, you speak, you feel fear, joy, surprise, as vivid as waking life. But when you wake up, you realize it wasn't real. It was a dream. Why don't you realize this while dreaming? Because critical thinking is suppressed. The frontal lobes are less active. Logic and skepticism are reduced. So even if you are flying, you don't say, "This is strange." You say, "Of course I can fly," and carry on. The brain presents you with a full reality, yet none of it is actually happening. It is only neural activity. So here's the question. How do you know that waking reality is real? Because it's consistent. It follows physical laws. It makes sense. But dreams also feel consistent while you're in them until you wake up. Could you be in a deeper dream right now, and true awakening exists at another level? You cannot prove otherwise, because when you're dreaming, you don't know that you're dreaming. Maybe you don't know it now either. 33. The simulation hypothesis. Maybe it's all a program. In 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed an argument. One of three possibilities must be true. Advanced civilizations go extinct before creating realistic simulations. Advanced civilizations choose not to run simulations.
we are most likely living in a simulation. Why? Because if a civilization becomes sufficiently advanced, it gains enormous computational power. It might want to simulate its ancestors for research, curiosity, or entertainment. If billions of simulations are run, then simulated minds would vastly outnumber biological ones. Statistically, that would mean that you are probably inside a simulation. This idea is controversial. There are many objections, but it is also difficult to falsify. If you were in a simulation, could you detect it? Elon Musk says there is a 1 in a billion chance we're in base reality. Others respond, nonsense. A simulation is an extraordinary claim and requires evidence. There is none. Still, the idea is intriguing because if we are in a simulation, everything is algorithmic. The laws of physics are just code, and you are, at bottom, a process. Yet your experience would still be real because you are experiencing it. Perhaps reality is experience itself, regardless of what lies underneath.
34. The brain in a vat. Maybe you are just a brain in a container. A more radical thought experiment. Imagine this. A scientist removes your brain from your body, places it in a container filled with nutrient fluid, and connects electrodes to it. The electrodes send exactly the right signals, as if you have a body, as if you are walking in the world, as if you were talking to other people. But it is all electrical stimulation. In reality, you are just a brain, in a container, in a laboratory. Can you prove otherwise? No, because all of your experience comes from neural signals. If the signals are identical, the experience is identical. You cannot tell whether your body is real or simulated. This is a disturbing idea, but philosophically crucial, because it shows this. You cannot know external reality directly. You only know your experiences. And experiences are generated in the brain. There is no guarantee they are a faithful copy of what exists outside. 35. Is there a shared reality? Do people see the same world? You see red. Your friend also sees red. But is it the same red? We asked this before, now let's widen the lens. Could people be living in different realities? Think of political debates. Two sides observe the same event, but arrive at completely different interpretations. It's obvious that this happened. Now it was completely different. Both are sincere. Neither is necessarily lying. They truly saw it that way. Because perception does not come only from the senses, it is also shaped by beliefs, expectations, and emotions. When the brain interprets what it sees, it uses prior models. If you expect something, you are more likely to perceive it. So two people watch the same event but see different things because their mental models differ. Is there an objective, shared reality? Probably, but no one has direct access to it. Everyone lives their own interpretation. And sometimes those interpretations diverge so much that it feels like two entirely different worlds. Right now, you remember the past. You imagine the future. But both of them exist only in your brain right now. The past is memory, but memories change. They are rewritten, so the true past is inaccessible. You can only access its current version. The future does not yet exist. It is made of predictions and plans. And the now? We already saw this, a window of a few seconds, a construct created by the brain. Physicists say time is a dimension. Past, present, and future all exist, equally real. It only feels like time flows because of our perspective. But maybe time flows only in the brain. Outside, there is no flow, just a static four-dimensional block universe.
and the brain slices this block into moments of now, a continuously moving present. If this is true, the past still exists. Your future already exists too. You just haven't reached it yet. Free will? In trouble again, because the future is already there. But this is only a theory. We do not know for sure. 37. Culture and perception. Do different cultures see reality differently? Western cultures focus on objects. When they look at an image, they notice the central object. Eastern cultures focus on context. Looking at the same image, they notice the background and relationships. This has been tested repeatedly. Westerners, the big fish. Easterners, the river, the plants, and the big fish. Same image, different perception. Language also matters. Some languages have fewer color categories. Blue and green share the same word, and speakers of those languages are slower to distinguish blue from green. Some languages use absolute directions. No left or right, only north, south, east, west. And speakers of those languages constantly track direction. They almost always know where north is. So language shapes perception. Culture shapes attention. Everyone lives in a slightly different reality. 38. Mirror neurons. Feeling others' experiences as your own reality. You see someone smile, and you feel like smiling. You see someone in pain, and you feel uncomfortable. Why? Mirror neurons. In your brain, there are neurons that activate not only when you perform an action, but also when you observe someone else performing it. When you see someone raise their arm, your motor cortex activates slightly as if you were raising your own arm. This helps explain empathy. You partially experience others' experiences as your own. But it also expands your sense of reality. You do not experience the world only from your own perspective, but also through others. Maybe reality is shared, not just yours, but collective. And maybe consciousness is like that too, not purely individual, partly social. Lie back comfortably. Breathe in and let go. Your eyes may close. In the previous sections, we explored what consciousness is, how identity forms, whether free will exists, and how flexible reality may be. Now we arrive at perhaps the deepest, most existential questions of all. When you die, what happens to your consciousness? This is humanity's oldest question. Every culture, every religion has searched for an answer. Science is searching too, but there is still no definitive answer. This section is about death and what may lie beyond it. Is consciousness merely a product of the brain or part of something larger? Are you connected to the universe in some deeper way? Does existence have meaning? I will not give answers, only questions. Deep, calming, thought-provoking questions. If you are ready, let us begin. 39. Death. What happens when consciousness shuts down? Clinical death. The heart stops. Breathing ceases. The brain no longer receives oxygen. For the first few seconds, consciousness may still persist. The brain can still use small residual amounts of oxygen. But within a few minutes, neural activity slows, then stops. And consciousness, it disappears. Or so it seems. From the outside, we cannot measure it. EEG lines flatten, but does that truly mean consciousness is gone? Some say yes, the brain dies, consciousness dies, because consciousness is generated by the brain. Others say maybe not. Maybe consciousness is independent of the brain and continues after death. There is no proof. Both are beliefs. Yet some people report near-death experiences, and they say, "I died, but I was conscious." Near-death experiences. Consciousness at the edge of death. Cardiac arrest, clinically dead, then resuscitated. And some report extraordinary experiences. A tunnel, a light, a feeling of peace, meeting loved ones, leaving the body, watching the operation from above. These are called near-death experiences, NDEs. Are they real? Some researchers say yes, people were conscious after death, which suggests consciousness is independent of the brain. Others say no, the brain was not dead, only under extreme stress. And stress can produce hallucinations. Endorphins, DMT-like chemicals are released, creating powerful mystical experiences. The tunnel and the light? Oxygen loss in the visual cortex. The center is more resilient. The edges shut down first. Bright center, dark periphery, a tunnel-like effect. The out-of-body experience? Disruption in the parietal lobe. The body schema breaks down. You perceive yourself from the outside. Everything can be explained neurologically. But some cases are puzzling. People recall conversations during surgery. They describe objects they supposedly could not have seen. Verified? Disputed. Some researchers say yes, others say no. Memory distortion, reconstruction, coincidence. There is no definitive answer. But one thing is clear. People who experience NDEs often change profoundly. They no longer fear death. They become calmer, more compassionate. Whether the experience reflects an external reality or an internal one, it is deeply meaningful to those who live through it.
41. Reincarnation claims. Some children, around the ages of 2 or 3, begin to say strange things. I used to live somewhere else. I had a different family. My name was this. And they speak in detail. Names, places, events. Families investigate, and sometimes there really was such a person. Someone who lived before, just as the child described. The child never knew this person, never heard of them, yet seemed to know. How? One explanation, reincarnation. The child is remembering a previous life. Psychiatrist Ian Stevenson collected thousands of such cases. He investigated them meticulously, and many, he claimed, were verified. Skeptics respond, coincidence, or the child heard the information somewhere and forgot the source, or families misremember, or the researcher was biased. Every case has alternative explanations, but some are deeply puzzling. Some children have birthmarks or scars that correspond to wounds from the alleged previous life. How? No one knows. Reincarnation has not been proven, but it has not been completely ruled out either. If it were true, consciousness would be independent of the brain and could move to another body after death. A very big if. 42. Can consciousness exist apart from the brain? Dualism versus materialism. Materialism says the brain creates consciousness. Without a brain, there is no consciousness. Dualism says the brain and consciousness are separate. The brain is physical, consciousness is non-physical. They interact, but they are fundamentally different. René Descartes defended dualism. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. I can doubt my body, but I cannot doubt that I am thinking. Therefore, I am a thinking thing, not a body. Modern science, however, leans toward materialism, because every conscious state corresponds to a brain state. If the brain is damaged, consciousness changes. If the brain dies, consciousness disappears. So, consciousness does not appear independent of the brain. Yet, some philosophers propose property dualism. Consciousness is not physical, but it arises from the physical. When the brain becomes sufficiently complex, consciousness emerges as a new property. How does it emerge? No one knows. This is the explanatory gap. The transition from physical processes to subjective experience remains unexplained. Perhaps it will be explained in the future. Perhaps it never will. 43. Universal consciousness. Perhaps we are all parts of a larger mind. Some mystics and some scientists propose a radical idea. Consciousness is not individual, it is universal. There is a cosmic consciousness, and we are all parts of it. Like waves in an ocean, they appear separate, but they are all made of the same water. When you die, the individual wave disappears, but the water returns to the ocean, and everything continues. In Hindu philosophy, this is Atman and Brahman, the individual soul and the universal soul. Ultimately, they are one. In Buddhism, shunyata, emptiness. Separation is an illusion. Everything is interconnected. In modern physics, quantum entanglement. Two particles remain correlated even across vast distances, as if fundamentally linked. Perhaps the universe, at a deep level, is a unified whole, and consciousness is a property of that whole. If this were true, you never truly die, because you are the wave. The wave fades, but the ocean remains, and you are the ocean. A beautiful idea, but one that cannot be proven. 44. Panpsychism. Perhaps everything is a little conscious. Another radical idea, panpsychism. Consciousness is not only in brains, it is in everything. Atoms are slightly conscious, rocks are slightly conscious. The universe is saturated with consciousness. Sounds crazy? Perhaps, but some philosophers defend it seriously. Why? Because the question, how does consciousness arise from non-conscious matter, has no satisfactory answer. But if matter is already slightly conscious, the problem disappears. As systems become more complex, consciousness increases. It is not created from nothing. An atom is extremely minimally conscious, almost not at all, but not zero. A rock is billions of atoms, slightly more conscious, still very little. A brain has trillions of cells and complex connections, highly conscious. So consciousness is a spectrum. It exists everywhere, but in different degrees. Can this be tested? No, because consciousness cannot be measured from the outside. However, some physicists connect panpsychism with integrated information theory. Giulio Tononi proposes that consciousness is integrated information, and every system contains some degree of integrated information. Therefore, everything is a little conscious. Speculative, but thought-provoking. 45. Quantum consciousness. Perhaps consciousness exists at the quantum level. Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff proposed a controversial theory, orchestrated objective reduction, or ORC. Consciousness arises from quantum processes. Microtubules, tiny structures inside cells, perform quantum computations. Quantum superposition represents options in consciousness. At the moment of objective reduction, one option is selected. This is speculative. Most neuroscientists are skeptical. The brain is warm and noisy. Quantum effects should decohere almost instantly. But Penrose argues otherwise. Microtubules, he claims, can sustain quantum coherence. This has not been proven, but it is being investigated. If true, consciousness operates at the quantum level,
and perhaps through quantum entanglement, it is connected to the universe itself. Perhaps after death, your quantum information remains in the universe. It does not disappear. A very big perhaps. 46. Terminal lucidity. Consciousness returns just before death. Some Alzheimer's patients live for years with severe cognitive impairment. They do not recognize their families, they cannot speak. But a few hours before death, a sudden clarity appears. Clear eyes, speech, recognition of loved ones. For a few hours, then death. This phenomenon is called terminal lucidity. How is this possible? The brain has been damaged for years, neurons have been lost, yet suddenly it seems to function. No one knows. Some researchers suggest the brain gathers its last reserves of energy, a final effort. Others suggest something more radical. Perhaps consciousness is not located in the brain. The brain is only a receiver. A damaged brain is a poor receiver. But at the moment of death, the receiver shuts down and consciousness manifests directly. Speculative, but unexplained. Terminal lucidity deepens the mystery of consciousness. 47. Mind uploading. Is digital immortality possible? If technology advances far enough in the future, perhaps we will be able to scan your brain completely. Every neuron, every synapse, every electrical and chemical state, all of it, atom by atom, bit by bit, copied digitally. And one day, a system boots up on a computer. It wakes up. Your memories are there, your childhood, your fears, the music you love, the decisions you made. Your personality is the same, your reactions are the same. It calls itself me. But this is where the critical question begins. Is it you? If your biological body dies and the digital version continues to live, the digital entity experiences continuity. It feels like an unbroken subject of experience. But you, the consciousness asking this question right now, perhaps you are dead. Some philosophers say, yes, it is you, because identity is not in the matter, but in the information. Your brain is already constantly changing. Your cells renew themselves. Yet you remain because the pattern is preserved. Others say, no, because what truly matters is continuous subjective experience. The digital copy is a new consciousness that thinks like you, but it is not your continuation. It is a twin, not you. But there is an even stranger scenario. What if the upload is gradual? One neuron in the brain is replaced with its digital counterpart, then another, then another. At every step, consciousness continues. No blackout, no break. Months later, your entire brain is digital. Nothing biological remains, but you were never interrupted. So then, is this still you? Maybe yes, maybe no. No one knows for certain. But one thing is clear. This question reveals how fragile and ill-defined the thing you call me really is. 48. The meaning of existence. Why does consciousness exist? The final question, perhaps the hardest one. Why does consciousness exist? Is it an evolutionary advantage? Probably. Consciousness enables planning, empathy, cooperation, and long-term thinking. It helps survival. But there is a problem. It is possible to imagine a completely unconscious system that displays the same behaviors, a philosophical zombie. It speaks, laughs, runs, acts as if it loves, but feels nothing. If consciousness is not required for behavior, why does inner experience exist at all? Why do we feel pain? Why does beauty move us? Why is there a sense of I am here? No one knows. Perhaps consciousness is the universe's way of experiencing itself. As Carl Sagan said, we are a way for the universe to know itself. Perhaps stars are unconscious, but at some point the universe begins to look.
to reflect on itself, through your eyes, through your emotions, through your questions. Perhaps meaning is not something out there. Perhaps meaning is the experience itself. To feel something, to be aware of a moment. Perhaps that is enough. You are here right now. You are thinking. You are reading these lines. And this is one of the strangest, deepest events happening in the universe. Perhaps meaning is exactly this.
49. Fear of death. Why do we fear non-existence? Most people fear death. But why? If death is nothingness, there is no pain, no fear, nothing at all. Epicurus said, "Death does not concern us. While we exist, death is not present. When death is present, we no longer exist, so we never encounter it." It is logical, yet emotionally unsatisfying. Because the fear is not of nothingness itself, it is the fear of loss, losing loved ones, losing experiences, losing the self, and the unknown. Perhaps death truly is nothingness. Perhaps it is something else. No one knows, and uncertainty is frightening. Yet some people, after accepting death, live more peacefully. Memento mori, remember death, and value every moment. 50. Is consciousness a property of the universe? The final mystery. Perhaps consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe, like mass, energy, or charge, not physical in the usual sense, but everywhere. If this is true, consciousness never emerged, it was always there. Even before the Big Bang, the potential for consciousness may have existed, and as the universe expanded and grew more complex, consciousness became richer. Stars, planets, life, brains, each one expresses consciousness more fully. And perhaps the purpose of the universe is to maximize consciousness, to experience itself from every angle in every form. You are one way the universe experiences itself. A beautiful idea, but there is no proof. On this journey, we explored 50 mysteries: consciousness, identity, free will, reality, death. And perhaps you feel a little overwhelmed. So many questions, so few answers. But remember, these questions are not academic, they are personal. Each one is about you, your experience, your life. And even if there are questions, one thing is certain: you exist. Right now, you are reading these words. You are thinking, you are feeling. You may not know how this happens, you may not know why it happens, but it is happening, and that is enough. You are a miracle of the universe, small yet meaningful, temporary yet real. And this moment, this state of consciousness is something no one can take from you. What will happen tomorrow, you do not know. What comes after death, you do not know. But now, here, you exist, and that is the greatest gift. Now take a breath. A deep, slow breath. Let your eyes close completely. There's no need to read anymore. Just listen to the silence. Your body grows heavier, sinking into the bed. Hands relaxed, jaw relaxed, shoulders dropping. Thoughts slow down. They flow away. Mysteries, uncertainties, questions, all of them gently drifting off. Because now is not a time for thinking, it is a time for resting. Tonight, you explored the deepest mysteries of consciousness, 50 questions, and most of them have no answers. And that is beautiful, because you live within questions, every day, every breath. And tomorrow, you will wake up, conscious again, curious again, alive again. But for now, just rest. Let your consciousness slow down. Drift into the world of dreams. Perhaps you will dream. Perhaps there will be nothing. Both are beautiful. Because sleep is a gift of consciousness. Rest, a new beginning. And in the morning, you will open again to the world. A new day, new experiences, new mysteries. But for now, just let go. Let time pass. Let sleep come. Let consciousness soften. You are safe. You are at peace. And you are enough. Breathe in. Let go. Eyes closed. Thoughts far away. Consciousness flowing. Dreams approaching. You are resting. And this is beautiful. Good night. Sweet dreams. And remember, you are a miracle. Small, but real. Temporary, but meaningful. Now, sleep.